All right, welcome everybody. Aesop Grimm here, and this is something of a channel update to let you know where we're going, where I'm going, what I'm thinking, how things are, what's on deck for this channel, basically. So what I want to do is I want to give you kind of the upfront, down and dirty about it, and then so it'll be like the summary, the catch points, and then I'm going to break that down a little bit more for those who want to understand that a little bit deeper. So the quick and dirty is that I am going to be streaming Medieval Dynasty, and that's going to be an interim thing that I do while I wait for a mod called Crusader Blade to become available, because my next planned chronicle is Crusader King 3 Royal Court Edition, and I want the Crusader Blade mod so that I can pair it where the battles are fought in Mount and Blade 2 Bannerlord. In addition to that, I am on the back third of my Rumble exclusive playthrough of Deus Ex Human Revolution, where that game hits way differently in 2022 than it does when it was made in 2009. I believe 2009 is when it was made. When I am finished with that, I plan on starting a third chronicle in Elden Ring, where I'm going to start out as a confessor and do a faith-based paladin style build, and then convert late game to an arcane blood-based build using dragon magic. That's the plan for that. So there's your upfront quick and dirty. The streaming Medieval Dynasty in the interim while I wait for Crusader Blade mod to become available so I can start my CK3 Chronicle, finishing the back third of my Deus Ex Human Revolution series, and then beginning shortly after I finish that with my third Chronicle in Elden Ring. Okay, let's break that down a little bit for those of you who are interested. Medieval Dynasty. I don't have a streaming schedule for you. I'm new to the game, and so backseat gaming is welcome. If I'm online, you see me online streaming it, you're welcome to jump in. And if you want to give me advice and help me learn how to play that game, that's what I'm looking for. I'm not really looking to exploit anything. I'm not trying to exploit mechanics. I'm just trying to learn how to play the game competently. And I've played it offline enough to know to feel comfortable enough with the start to go ahead and get started. But you can give advice even with the beginning. I don't have any times for you though, and that's because I don't stream very often on this channel. In the past, I have explained that is because I have a little bit of social anxiety. I don't think I'm going to say that anymore. One, I don't think it's actually true. And two, because I don't think it's true, I think it's almost disrespectful to those who actually do have social anxiety. What I have is I'm an introvert. And the best analogy I've ever heard for introverts and extroverts is to use batteries as the comparison or as the metaphor. And it says that for introverts, they enjoy being social, oftentimes just as much as extroverts do, but they are spending their battery juice whenever they are around people and at big group events and things like that, and they need to get off on their own to recharge. Extroverts are the opposite. They sometimes need to be on their own. They need to be left alone, but not for too long, because they're spending their energy while they are alone, and in order to recharge their batteries, they need to get back around people. So what happens to me, because I'm an introvert, is that I will be streaming and I'm having a blast. It's a totally different experience than just recording videos, and I'm having a lot of fun interacting with the group, especially if it's something that we've been doing for a little while, and everybody, there's a story develops between you and the people that you're streaming with, and it's a fun experience. And so because of that, because I'm having a blast, it is just a total surprise to me whenever I'm just suddenly done. I ran out of juice and I didn't see it coming. It catches me by surprise all the time. And the next thing you know, I'm just not streaming anymore. Or I start to slow down on my streaming and then I stop, or things of that nature. And so for that reason, I don't stream whole Let's Plays. I did do one with Skyrim that was really fun. I had a lot of fun on that one. There were a couple guys that jumped in on routinely. That was a blast. But I find I don't have that's the exception and not the rule. So what I tend to use streaming for is to learn games that I'm preparing to do full chronicles on. For me, a chronicle is a Let's Play. So that explains the whole streaming thing. I don't have a schedule for you, but what I will do, you can, if you go to my channel, you will find Medieval Dynasty under the live content. I'm also going to form a playlist for that so that it's a little easier to search out, and you can find it under my playlist section, and it'll pull all those videos together into that playlist for you. Okay. What is Crusader Blade? Crusader Blade is a mod that while you're playing Crusader Kings 3, when you get into a battle, it pauses the game. It extracts all of the relevant data from the Crusader Kings 3 script, and it pulls it into Mount & Blade 2, into a battle in Mount & Blade 2 that you fight in first-person perspective. It'll have the names of the captains in there. It'll have the troop composition as best as it can. It'll try to reflect the troop composition, and it will have the varying troop levels, the numbers of troops reflected on each side. And you fight that battle in Bannerlord, and then it takes the results of that and it transfers that back into CK3. So if you killed a captain on the field, he dies in Crusader Kings 3. If you just knocked him out, you wounded him, then he's captured in CK3 and he goes to your dungeons. Troop losses are reflected. That's important in CK3 because you're wanting to inflict as many casualties as possible. That's how you win in CK3. And troop losses will be reflected back into CK3 from what happened in your Mount & Blade battle. So it's all just really it's very cool, but it's a lot of work to update that for Royal Court, and the guy's not done with it yet, and I haven't seen an update in quite a while. And so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give a couple weeks, maybe as much as a month, but I don't think so. I'm just saying I'm trying to give you guys a range, 2 to 4 weeks. It could even maybe be one week. It's more likely to be 1 or 2 weeks, but it could go on to a month. I want to give some time for that mod to become available, and also for my own hunger level. And this is more the reason why I'm giving you a window. My own hunger level, what I call a hunger level for a game, to cross a certain threshold. I am very excited. Even talking about CK3, I'm already getting excited about that. But I need there's a certain internal measurement where I kind of know where it ticks across the threshold that I'm ready to go ahead and do a full chronicle. Because if you don't wait for that, or at least in my experience, if I don't wait for that, then the chronicles become a little hard to finish. It's like having enough fuel in your tank to make the trip, right? These are long series. And what I'm doing with CK3 is this is the second Let's Play series, what I call Chronicles, and what is going to be 3 or 4 chronicles long of trying to restore the Roman Empire borders. So this second chronicle is about getting Italy. The first chronicle is already up. That is about going from the county of Salerno to becoming the king of Sicily. I've accomplished that. The next objective is to take over all of Italy, and and eventually, and then the third chronicle is supposed to go ahead and restore the borders of the old Roman Empire. And the fourth chronicle, if it's needed, is going to be about healing the Great Schism. And I think I'm going to stick with Orthodoxy, but I'm not for sure on that yet. But I'll pick one of them, and I'll basically convert everything within my realm to whichever one that it is that I pick. And we'll have to take down the Byzantine Empire. So that's what that fourth chronicle, if it's needed, if everything's not wrapped up in the third chronicle, then that fourth chronicle will cover that. Now, that's not 4 chronicles on my channel. I have other chronicles in CK3, but this series of Restoring Rome, I've decided to break up into 3 or 4 of its own chronicles. So hopefully that makes sense to everybody. I am on the back third of Deus Ex Human Revolution. Wow, has that been one exciting series, at least for me. It's been an absolute blast. This game is a game that whenever I first started it out, I tried it 2 or 3 times back in 09 and a few times in the years between 09, 2009 and now. And I never got past the very beginning parts because it just felt like, for lack of a better word, it felt like SJW bait, and I couldn't stomach it. I was like, oh my gosh, this game's just gonna piss me off. And then finally I was able to get past the beginning parts, and I got into it because I really, really loved the first Deus Ex. That game was really phenomenal. But I thought maybe, they got taken over by a new company or they had new writers or stuff like that. Anyway, once I got past it and I played it, I stuck with the game. It turned into an amazing experience. And I'm telling you, that game hits way different in 2022 than it did in 2009, because what's happening is that they're dealing with an umbrella concept, a concept that is true across a multitude of various, I guess, categories, and it's true throughout the eras. There's a truthful concept that they're dealing with. But whenever you do that with something artistic like a video game, you have analogies and metaphors being used that are supposed to draw very obvious parallels to things that are happening in your era at the time. And the geopolitical and socioeconomic things happening in 2009 were different than they were in 2022. And namely, Deus Ex is dealing, it was drawing parallels to mostly, I think, racial discrimination was what its metaphors were in 2009. In 2022, totally different lens. Totally different lens. And I think the game and the content of the game is actually more directly applied in 2022. There are even some things that would have been considered conspiracy theories that have actually come out to be actually true things in 2022 that people are talking about openly in the news, like big people, heads of state and stuff. And so the way that this game is interpreted and the parallels it draws to the real world in 2022 are extremely hard hitting, in my opinion, to the point that this game is almost horror. It's almost a horror game, and it gives it a totally different feel. It's very exciting, in my opinion, very exhilarating, but it's all stuff that YouTube would not appreciate. And so YouTube has the right to call their shots how they want to. It's their platform, it's their business. There are things about YouTube that I disagree with, and maybe even vehemently disagree with. I think they're foolish. I think they're authoritarian, and I think they're going down roads that lead to wickedness and evil. But it's their company, and they get to do what they want to do. So I'm not going to try and poke the bear on that. Not because I'll just be honest with you guys. It's not because I'm trying to protect my channel. I don't care if I lose this channel. That has zero impact on me in the real world. Zero, none. It's not for that. it has more to do, I guess, with principle that I just don't. I think it's their right to run their business how they want, and a series like this that I know is going to go against their ideological values or bother what they interpret as being topics that shouldn't be discussed versus topics that they would approve of, that I think that they're completely uneven in, and I think that they would acknowledge that it's by design. They do that on purpose. It's just not appropriate for me to even put that on their channel. So that's a Rumble exclusive that you can find under the same channel name, Aesop Grimm, on Rumble. And I will eventually follow that up with a blind playthrough on Mankind Divided. Okay, and then for Elden Ring, real quick, the third Chronicle in Elden Ring, I was planning on doing this sort of Sino/Japanese kind of theme. I thought it was really good. I still think it's really good. And that was to do a blood-based build, because blood is so OP, I think it's going to get nerfed, and I kind of wanted to experience that OP type of build and pair it with an arcane dragon magic. And I thought that would match up really well with the Japanese-based samurai, who starts with a bleed weapon in the katana, has some samurai-based martial sets and weapon art, and of course you got the dragon-related stuff, which would be very Japanese/Sino as well. But unfortunately, me as a player, I'm not very good with the samurai. That's both from a competence perspective, because I'm a new soul-style player, and I'm not quite good enough with a parry-style shield, and I'm not quite good enough at dodge rolling and stuff like that. But also as a player style, where I'm more of a knight-based, true sword and board style, where you have 100% block on your shield. So for that reason, and so my instincts are all wrong for it. My timing is off. The feel for it isn't quite right. Whereas I feel like I am right on point with the Confessor. So I'm going to be playing a Confessor again. I'm going to be starting out as a holy faith-based kind of paladin style. And then the build that I want to do for Arcane is a fighting cowboy build that really isn't even able to be done until late game. So I will just morph into that late game from the faith-based build. And the way that I'm kind of justifying that role-playing wise in my mind is it's like a Jedi. With Jedis, you had a style difference between a light side Jedi and a gray Jedi, for example. But then you also had ranks from Padawan to Jedi Master and everything in between. And so my idea is that this is an incantation build. And we are just simply going from a holy-based or a faith-based paladin style to an arcane-based dragon style. And but it's still an incantation build. So there it is. One more on the wrap up. We'll do one more summary. The idea is to stream. It's like unofficial. It's just very casual to stream Medieval Dynasty and learn how to play that game while I wait for my, quote unquote hunger levels to build up for CK3 and for the Crusader Blade mod to become available. And then to also finish the back third of my Deus Ex Human Revolution Chronicle, that is a Rumble exclusive at the Aesop Grimm channel on Rumble, and follow that up with a third Chronicle in Elden Ring, where I will play an incantation build. So again, I'm Aesop Grimm. Thank you for coming by the channel. I hope you like what you saw. I hope all is well in your neck of the woods for you and yours. And I will see you in the next Chronicle, where that story begins.